The limiting reagent in a chemical reaction is the substance that gets used up first. Once a particular reagent has been used up, it stands to reason that the reaction is complete, as there is nothing left of that reagent to react with the other reactant. Iron reacts with sulfur to form iron sulfide. Determine which of the reactants is the limiting reagent if 20 grams of iron and 10 grams of sulfur are mixed and heated. And calculate how many grams of the other substance are in excess. In order to determine which of the two reactants is the limiting reagent, we need to calculate the number of moles of each substance, and then use mole ratio. So, there are 0.3584 moles in 20 grams of iron, and there are 0.3125 moles in 10 grams of sulfur. Iron and sulfur react in the ratio 1:1, so the limiting reagent of the reaction is sulfur, since there are fewer moles of it. Another way of looking at it is that there are 0.3584 moles of iron available, but only 0.3125 moles of iron are actually used up, which means that iron is the substance in excess, and therefore sulfur is the limiting reagent. We can also reason that, since there are 0.3584 moles of iron available, and iron and sulfur react in the ratio 1:1, there must be 0.3584 moles of sulfur available. But, from our calculations, there are only 0.3125 moles of sulfur available, so it stands to reason that sulfur is the limiting reagent, as there aren't enough moles of sulfur that will ensure all the iron is used up. Since there were 0.3584 moles of iron available, and only 0.3125 moles were used up, it follows that 0.0459 moles of iron are in excess, and therefore did not react. In other words, there are 2.561 grams of unreacted iron remaining once the reaction has reached completion. 14.5 grams of iron reacts with 12 grams of water during a corrosion reaction. Determine which of the two substances is the limiting reagent, and calculate the mass of Fe3O4 that will be formed. Again, in order to determine which of the two substances is the limiting reagent, the first step is to calculate how many moles of each substance we have, and then use mole ratio. There are 0.26 moles in 14.5 grams of iron, and 0.67 moles in 12 grams of water. We have 0.26 moles of iron, and 0.67 moles of water, available. Since iron and water react in the ratio 3:4, it follows that 0.26 moles of iron will react with 0.3467 moles of water. And since there are 0.67 moles of water available to react, it follows that water is in excess, and iron is the limiting reagent. We can also reason that 0.67 moles of water react with 0.5025 moles of iron. But since there are only 0.26 moles of iron available to react, it follows that iron is the limiting reagent. 3 moles of iron react with 4 moles of water to form 1 mole of Fe3O4 and 4 moles of hydrogen gas. Therefore, since there are only 0.26 moles of iron available, the mass of Fe3O4 that can form is 20.06 grams.